some like Google, like there was like a bunch of like creators on it, like out of Florida. I'm almost like 1,000% sure that you were there. It was like it wasn't like a traditional like cruise. It was like a getaway for like creatives, and like they had like the CEO of like Uber and the CEO of Google there, and like John Legend was there. Like it's not a dream. I know it sounds like
yeah, I was gonna say.
like,
right.
And the Mariners were crushing it. They were all there.
We'll go ahead and mark this. This is where Drew fucking went off the deep end and just fucking, and Jeff Foxworthy was there, and the fucking, that's when he homed his John Stockton bit. Okay, man, that's been at Drew Lynch.
I am almost positive you were there.
It doesn't sound familiar at all, but I love that you had such a good time that you think that you're like, when I think of cruise ships and Google and Uber heads, I think of Adam Ray.
No.
Hey, it's Herbert. And you're listening to the About Last Night podcast, you slippery little son of a bitch.
About last night.
Are we going? Are you already going?
We are now going.
Okay, all right, sorry. Okay, sorry. Dude, that's just...
For those of you, welcome back to the show. For those of you listening, I just made Drew pop off hard by saying I'm working on a Gabby Petito joke.
Okay, so
What's so funny about
it's
that?
just it made me laugh because in a week no one's gonna care. But
When they find the guy?
when they find the
Oh,
guy,
you think a week?
it might be longer. But I'm gonna say everything moves so quickly now that I mean, I think it'll for sure be like a documentary in the next whatever year. or so,
they're already
or some
writing the
shit.
movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure. What's his name? The guy that wrote The Social Network.
Yeah.
Is probably already putting pen to pad. Now,
Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin. Yeah. There's a great. I mean, it's got a very. What's the movie with Emile Hirsch that Sean Penn did? Not Wild Things. That's with Nev Campbell and Denise Richards, where they make out in a pool. Have you ever seen that movie?
I would love to see that scene. I've never seen that movie though.
Oh, the scene's iconic. It was also at a time, and again, we just found out I'm 9 years older than you.
Yeah.
But you said, what do you do with your skin? What's your regimen?
I did say that.
Something
and your voice and
Yeah.
good looks and your comedy. All this all the stuff I need to
Youthful.
get better at. Yeah.
No. No way, dude. You and your dog have videos 2.2
Jesus
million
Christ.
and up, dude.
That's what I am. Is just a duo to you, huh? It's just a duo with my.
I can't look at
gimmick
Drew
of my
without
dog.
being like, "Where's the pup?" as well.
Hang on. I want to go back to this Gabby Petito
Okay,
thing.
please.
Okay,
yeah.
here's why
Do
it
we need
made
the
me
AC
laugh.
on, or can we turn it off? What do you think? Does it pick up? No, it's good. I always forget.
It won't pick up.
If it won't, then that's fine.
Let's just be safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so here's why the Gabby Petito thing made me laugh. Additionally, just because the fact that you and I are trying to talk about what it's like to just write stuff, and you're just like, I could write about that. Maybe is that who I am
Right,
to
'cause-
write
yes.
about that?
Your special just dropped, Concussed, which is amazing. We'll get into
Thanks,
that.
buddy.
But now you're like,
Now I'm just like, yeah. So what do I write? But
Right.
with the Gabby Petito thing is, I've got YouTube. I've got my Roku connected to like my YouTube and all this stuff. So I pulled up like YouTube to just watch football highlights, and the body cam footage of Gabby Petito came up where it's an hour and a half of that exchange that was documented before she went missing and everything, right? So I watched and it has like 15 million views or something insane. So I'm just like, my recommendations knows me. It knows that I love true crime, and I felt like it had something true crime related to it. So I watch the whole thing, and nothing happens because I did not know that she had gone missing. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So I watched this so I just watched the body cam footage of just a pretty regular like interaction, not at all that what had happened would be considered regular,
Sure.
but nothing of high stakes.
Right.
But it's only like if you know the context that she was missing and dead, and then you watch that, then is it chilling? Do you know what I'm saying?
1000%.
So
That's how I watched it.
just watched it without like that was my first introduction to Gabby Petito, was watching that footage and then just being like, all right, it felt like they got into like a dispute and that sucks. But for the most part, it was like why did I watch this for an hour? And then when I read it afterwards, then when you go back and watch, you're like, oh, this guy's like
he's so guilty,
bro.
When you go back and watch, it's always crazy to me that the people that are so guilty, like he is, and when you watch the body cam footage, even just the way he's talking, and he's so nervous, and it's like sometimes I chalk that up to, all right, some people are just a little socially, get socially crippled in even a situation to where, I mean, I remember the first few times I would get pulled over out here for speeding or running a stop sign.
Yeah.
I would tense up and definitely I remember I made up a lie once where the guy immediately just came to the window and I was like, my mom's in the hospital. And he was like, what? Like for going for a speeding ticket. I just panicked and was like, I need a reason. I was like, she's really sick. He was like, who is? I was like, my mom, dog. And then I was like, maybe dog. And he was like, your mom, dog? And I was like, my dog's mom. I was like trying to come up with something to, because I just.
You've got your mom in the passenger seat and your dog's in the back. Yeah, they're both in the hospital. Fuck. Fuck.
Don't look back there. Yeah.
But anyway, that was why I found everything out like backwards. So I just kind of felt like it's like I wish I knew that before I had seen it, because then when you're watching it, it's under the guise of that perspective. And I also found it a little weird because the guy, he's like making jokes with like the cops, like you're saying, like I feel like that's kind of a natural reaction for when people get pulled over, is to try to be, you want to be likable if you're trying to avoid like punishment. But
how do you deal with like traffic cops, traffic ticket people? How do you deal with authority?
I usually am I'm usually pretty calm, but like I feel like I've been pulled over one time, and it was because I ran a stop sign, and I ran it on my motorcycle. And I don't have a motorcycle anymore, but I ran it on my motorcycle, and the guy pulled me over, and he was right to do so. It wasn't like it was like a California stop where you just kind of roll through.
Yes, we've all done it.
Yeah, and he said normally we don't pull motorcyclists over because.
But you're hot.
Yeah. And then he's like, well, you got room in the back. He's like, normally we don't pull motorcyclists over because we consider them to be body bags. That's what he said. He's like, that's what cops call motorcyclists, is body bags. And I was like, all right, so you're gonna let me go? And he's like, no. And then he fucking ticketed me, and then he got on his motorcycle and ran away. No, just kidding. But but
got on my motorcycle.
Yeah, he got on mine. No, but that was the only time I've ever had like a thing. I think I have been maybe pulled over for like speeding, but I got out of that somehow, and I can't even remember how.
When did you get a motorcycle?
2011, 2012. It was right after my injury. I was feeling like I needed to compensate in some way, I've stuttered for 10 years, and then I just went through like my midlife crisis when I was like 20. So
hold on a second. Why did I this whole time think your injury was when you were a kid?
I don't know, man. It was, but
This is when you were 20?
20, yeah.
Wow.
It's the reason I am like doing stand up, because I never wanted to do stand up.
Right.
I still don't.
It's a love hate.
So yeah,
that's fine.
I'm just trying to get out. I just want to watch Gabby Petito as a person. I just want to be like, well, how do I craft this? How can I capitalize on this terrible thing?
I know, dude.
For my
It is shitty.
But no, I never. I always grew up. I grew up watching stand up and like admiring it, but I worked at Flappers, and that was like a night job, so I could have my days free to do like acting and stuff like that.
Which is what you came here for. And you're from where again?
I'm from. I grew up in Vegas, but I was born in Indiana, so
Gotcha.
I lived in Indiana for a few years.
Is that more home than Vegas, or?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. All my family is like back in the Midwest and stuff.
Who claims you?
Yeah, neither of them want me, but I would say the.
How many messages came from Vegas versus Indiana once you got the golden X from Howie.
The golden,
You know what I'm
probably
saying?
Probably Indy.
Yeah.
Probably Indy. I got like uncles, aunts, and cousins, and all that stuff. All the that family, they live out there, and then I have like friends who are from like high school in Vegas.
Gotcha.
So, but you're from Seattle.
From Seattle, yeah.
Yeah, I love Seattle so much.
It's the best, dude.
I love it. Pike Place is so awesome.
The coolest.
And, like, I could,
it's so touristy, but it's like also kind of iconic.
Yeah, and they get comedy. Them like Denver, Seattle, Utah. Like all that region up there. The NFC West. They
Dude,
get comedy. And
Yeah.
if your football's good, yeah, you're in good spirits to laugh.
There's got to be a correlation for that, by the way. Like if John Elway lives where you live, chances are the comedy clubs are pretty sweet. If Ken Griffey Jr. hit over 50 home runs in the 90s where you live, yeah, you're doing okay. If John Stockton fucked without a condom where you live, you might be a redneck. That's, by the way, how what if cut to that's like where Jeff Foxworthy is right now, just to talk about a guy who's like, fuck, I don't even know the character really anymore. I don't connect with it, but I know the joke flow. I know how I should be writing.
I know the second part is you might be a redneck.
Yeah. How do we get there?
If it's just Stockton, that I've got to make that work. Whatever that middle part is,
He's got the Goodwill Hunting board up. He's got Stockton, Raw Dog, and Redneck, and he's like, all right, put them together. Someone comes in, sweetheart, do you want some breakfast? Leave me alone, Diane. I'm trying to put it together.
Dude just writes setups. He's got his punchline forever. Oh fuck, that's so funny. But man, yeah, I forget how much you know about sports. You just rattled those off. You know. So much about
I mean,
sports.
right now my Mariners are in a deep pennant race.
Are they?
We have the longest professional playoff drought in professional sports.
Yeah.
2001, which famously is the year we won 116 games, tied the Chicago Cubs. So no team has won more in a season than the Cubs or us.
Wow.
We had just lost A-Rod the year before, Randy Johnson the year before that, and Ken Griffey Jr. the year before that. So 2001 was supposed to be, but we got Ichiro. We had these young players. We still had Jay Buhner. Edgar Martinez was still a gangster, but there was no reason that we were supposed to be the best in baseball.
Right.
After losing arguably three of the greatest players in the game. And it was crazy, but we haven't been since, and so we're a half game out. It's crazy. It's very exciting. I stay up late watching highlights like a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, my girl's just like, thankfully thinks it's cute that I'm so excited about it because I'm like, it's definitely. She's like, oh, you want to? I'm like, we're in a pennant race.
Don't talk to me right now. Yeah, if you touch me in a way and they start doing bad, you gotta get. We're done.
I'm
done.
that superstitious.
Wait,
so you came here to act?
It's good to be. Yeah.
It is good to be here.
It's good. Well, no, I was gonna say it's good to be. It's good that someone watches baseball. I wish I was as much into baseball as I love football, and
that's sport?
about it. Yeah, baseball. I grew up playing. I was so bad at it, but to watch it, if you're at a baseball game, it's so much fun.
Awesome.
When you watch it, I got my dad took me to a game behind Yankees home plate, and it was so cool.
Wow.
But
you
football
as a
is my
kid?
thing. Yeah.
Did you play football?
I played. I was on the team, but not the roster.
What position did you try to play?
I outside linebacker. But I was so tiny. I'm still a very tiny guy, but
Did you pack a lot of punch though?
I did punch a lot, and they said don't do that, especially when they
Drew
moved
tackle!
me. Yeah, especially when they moved me over to offense. They were like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I was like, how does that not apply? I learned. Staying up watching football highlights, I do the same thing. Where my girl is trying to fall asleep, and I will just be up. I turn the brightness all the way down and the volume down to one little tick, so I can still hear what's going on and relive.
You got to put some earbuds in.
Yeah,
that's the safe way.
Yeah, but I am in love with Seattle. In fact, one of the times that I was there, I was at Pike Place, and they have apartments that overlook the little water there.
Yep.
And I was like, I just called the place to see how much apartments were in that area. I was thinking it was going to be some exorbitant amount of money. I put it at $2,800 for one bedroom, and it was I don't know. I think it was maybe two, maybe a little less than that, which is pretty cool.
That's not bad. I mean, Seattle's real estate is going up,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because of the tech boom there. With Amazon being there, they just knew what people would pay and could pay, and they just jacked it all up. So it's affecting a lot of spots. Because I definitely want to pull a Chappelle and go back home and just like be there. I say that, but then like I don't know how you are with LA. I definitely thrive in the hustle and bustle here.
Yeah.
And the energy and being around not only the club energy, comedy club, and the nightclub energy.
Yeah.
But just the being around a lot of people, and I've said this countless times, but even like I remember 2 years after college out here, I met some guy at it was a Jamba Juice or like the coffee bar at Nordstrom, and he was telling me he was like working on his sides while he was doing shit, and I was like, I got into a chat with him about it, and it just I got a little boost out of that from the day, and you know sometimes you see someone on stage crush so hard, you can get a little intimidated by it or also inspired. For when I first started, it was all intimidation, I feel like, for anything that I wanted to do but wasn't even close to doing it yet. Yeah. And so to get to a point to where you can kind of like use it as fuel, I think is pretty cool.
So I have two questions about that.
Yeah.
When you, first of all, do you motivate yourself mostly on negative reinforcement or positive reinforcement? Like, are you somebody who, like, I'm sure you understand the question, but it's kind of tantamount to,
I can't get hard unless my girlfriend's screaming at me.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, yes. Sexually, we can check that off. But professionally, when you...
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Actually, we don't need to talk about professionally.
No, Drew, you're being sincere, and I love it. It's a great question. I know what you're asking, and I think I do feed off more of, probably the
You're
negative.
deciding in the moment, yeah. Like, it
Totally,
could go either way.
Totally, because I don't think I've had to ask this. I can go either way. Yeah. No, I think everybody needs those validating sentiments from reps. I think I've done an okay job of having enough faith in myself. But guess what, man? Like, only human. There's definitely been countless times where it's just like, for lack of, for lack of those validating moments of the consistency of them happening, to where it's only natural to just look in the mirror and be like, whew. I think only twice have I really been like, not am I going to shift gears to something else and go be a kindergarten teacher.
Right.
But just more to the extent of like, okay, what else? What do I need to do? I think I've always been pretty good at like, just, looking in the mirror and being like, all right, this isn't happening. What are you going to do about it? And trying to, it's not like I fucking pump myself up with some huge speech, but it's just really like a not feeling sorry for yourself. Yeah. Feeling that I am feeling sorry for myself and how gross that is, and being like, nobody gives a fuck. Yeah. Which is the other thing. It's like, even when I would like vent to a few buddies about like, man, this isn't happening. And it'd be buddies that had more going on, or buddies that had less going on. Yeah. And both were just like, yeah, man, I mean, they were helpful, in regards to like, dude, I fucking get like, but I get it, like, which is nice to have that support system. Everybody needs that. Yeah. That person that can kind of relate to the grind of what we're doing. But then I just quickly felt how it was like, fucking, all right, complaining about it truly changes nothing. Yeah, it doesn't. In fact, it can get to a place where it starts to feed itself, that negativity, and then it spirals so quickly. In fact, I think that one I find spirals so much more quickly than going to the more positive route is so much more like uphill. Yeah. But it's need a little bit of both, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you do need a healthy balance of both. I think when someone is we're all towing this line of trying to prove to people that we're not crazy, because you have to believe in yourself to such a degree that you continue to prevail despite several things being stacked against you, which could be a number of things, like numbers or talent or casting or whatever it is. And you, at the end, either you were right or they were right, right? Like, it's either you were right and you were like, look, I can validate myself by saying I have succeeded by doing this, and whatever that definition is in your head of what success is, or other people were right. And that's just that the idea that other people could be right and saying like, I don't believe that this person will get the things that they want to achieve. That is what keeps me up at night sometimes, is being like, well, it's the curmudgeon in me, or maybe just how like obdurate you want to be to other people. Maybe just the projection of people not wanting you to succeed is what keeps me up.
Ah, damn it. I ran out of milk. Now how am I going to eat my Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Hey guys, Adam Ray here. There's so much going on in the world, like running out of milk, not being able to perform in the bedroom, traffic. Whether it's stuff you're excited about or stuff you'd rather not think about, you can't always control the vibes out there. But you can always control the vibes in your head with a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears. See what I did there? Look, whether you use them to pump up, wind down, work out, or just work, Raycons are my on-to-go for the go audio. Every day, new earbuds look and feel and sound better than ever. That's what these are. And the new everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever before. They've got improved rubber oil look and feel, optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit, because that's always a big issue for me, is how those suckers fit in your lobes. Well, these ones are impressive because they just slide right in. That's what she said before you even start listening. You get 3 new sound profiles to make sure you're listening to the sounds that you think are the best for your ear, just with the right amount of bass. There's pure mode, which is perfect for podcast listening, balance mode for rock, heavy metal, and bass mode for hip-hop, EDM, reggae. There's also an all-new awareness mode for when you need to listen to your surroundings instead. Raycon offers 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life. There's also a built-in mic. You can take calls in your earbuds. That's huge, so you can be that guy at the airport that looks like you're talking to yourself, but you're actually making a multi-billion-dollar deal. Dan. Raycons start at half the price of other premium auto brands, and they sound just as good. That's why they're the shit. Raycons come with a 45-day happiness guarantee. You don't like it, send it back. Right now, ALN listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon, RAYCON.com/about. That's buyraycon.com/about to save 15% off your Raycons, baby. Buyraycon.com/about. Do it. Have you always been optimistic? Because I know that you've, talked about at great length after your injury. You had and I think you even said it, I know in interviews, but famously I think on the AGT one before your first audition, that you've always been, or after the injury, I think more specifically, turning a negative into a positive.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard because at that time, I think at that time, like, there was so much about AGT that I wasn't realizing that I needed. I was using it to validate my whole situation. I was using it to be like, okay, like when I felt like I had lost, my voice, and when my speech was messed up, and I had lost my confidence, and I was going through this whole who am I? What do I do with my career? I'm out here. I can't fix this.
You were how many years into it? Into being in
1 year. I was out here for 1 year.
Wow.
1 year, and then
you didn't even really get a take.
No. I mean, I had gotten some good traction with auditions, and I had some callbacks for guest roles and stuff, and I was called in for a few stuff where it came close for Mad Men, and because I was so young looking at that time.
Yeah.
And then AGT was just it was something that, looking back on it, I feel like I don't know if I think it might have done more. I don't know if I want to say it did more damage, but I was so green, and it was and it relied so much on the story and the aspirational aspect that I didn't know if that had damaged or taken or deadened the comedy of it, which is something that I only appreciate now that I couldn't have then.
Well, I don't think, first of all, I've watched the clip a bunch, and I remember watching it when you were on, because I think I had known you for, I don't know, maybe
3 years, 2 years. Yeah.
And which is also crazy cool, because you were so likable, nice, personable then. It's really cool to see, and I'm sure you feel this too, how much you've grown into just you're who you are, who on stage, off stage. I don't want to say you were not confident when I met you, but definitely a little more like anybody, a little more, and not shy's not even the right word, just a little more like not comfy in the whole
awkward,
in everything that was happening.
Yeah.
But that's also, makes total sense because it is so. And little did I know, again, I think up until maybe now that the injury was like that recent.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more understandable and even more incredible that you were even doing that, because it's so easier said than done to like have something like that happen. I mean, people, I know even myself, to spin a bad audition and try to find the positive or the silver lining in it. And you did it with like a life-changing situation.
Well, you had I mean, when I had first met you, I was still so green into comedy, and you, I mean, I think we had done a cruise ship together, right? We did that one in like 2000.
Was it in Long Beach?
No, it was like some like Google, like there was like a bunch of like creators on it, like out of Florida. I'm almost like 1,000% sure that you were there. It was this like, it wasn't like a traditional like cruise. It was like a getaway for like creatives, and like they had like the CEO of like Uber and the CEO of Google there, and like John Legend was there. Like I it's not a dream. I know it sounds like
yeah, I was gonna say
like,
right.
And the Mariners and the Mariners were crushing it. They were all there.
We'll go ahead and mark this. This is where Drew fucking went off the deep end and just fucking, and Jeff Foxworthy was there, and the fucking, that's when he homed his John Stockton bit. Okay, man, that's been at Drew Lynch.
I am almost positive you were there.
It doesn't sound familiar at all, but I love that you had such a good time that you think that you're like, when I think of cruise ships and Google and Uber heads, I think of Adam Ray.
No, it wasn't that kind of cruise. It wasn't like you go audition at Ventura and they're like, go do fucking Carnival. No, it was like a cool like invitation only.
Okay.
I could have sworn you were there. But...
Well, anyway, it was. Okay, well, the sentiment of who I am hopefully still rang true from this fake cruise story.
Oh, this is so embarrassing, dude. I can't believe this.
No.
Anyway,
this is great.
But I remember seeing you a ton that year, because that was the same time. That was around the same time that 22 Jump Street came out, and and you were awesome in you were in that.
22 Jump Street, The Heat?
No, fuck The Heat. Fuck.
Oh my God,
dude, I am 0 for 2.
No,
bro.
dude, you literally were making me
same...
feel like, dude,
Sorry.
I'm living in a true simulation, and I thought everything I thought was not even what I did.
I'm so sweating.
You reminded me of a time the first time I did mushrooms at a frat party, and I was dancing on the dance floor with some girl, and she was grinding on me so hard that I thought I came in my pants, and then she walked away, and it was completely dry, and my buddy goes, "What happened?" I go, "I thought I came and I didn't. Now what?" So
okay, sorry, The Heat. That's what I was. Sorry, there's a bad guy at the end. There's a twist.
There it is.
Sorry, yeah.
Channing
It's
Tatum
Die
was
Hard.
there, more or less.
I know you did Die Hard.
Yeah.
And anyway,
okay, so
sorry.
that's when that came out.
That,
is
yeah,
when we met.
well, it was just a little bit out.
2013.
Yeah, just right around that time. So, but it was just like the allure of like what stand-up was, and there's people on like TV, and then there's people who have like they've got like credits, and then it feels also like overwhelming
to be around it.
Yeah, and now we're in a time where I guess people can kind of chip away at their paths individually, and everybody can come from all different walks of whatever. But that was something that I still think was so intimidating, and so that's why I'm curious about people who first of all have been doing it for so long, but also to see what it is that they thrive in. Like if it's like they see somebody, if their team around them is so supportive and they need that validation in order to continue, or do you find yourself being sharper when you're operating from a place of not necessarily insecurity, but just teetering to where it becomes that.
Now I got you. I feel like I've always had to rely on myself and do it by myself. I've never felt like, up until maybe now, truly, in the past 4 or 5 months, I just got with a new manager, and that I have felt like I've had support.
Do you click with this manager?
1,000%.
That's great.
And there's a communication that I've never had in. I mean, again, I graduated in 2005, so 15, 16 years of being in Hollywood. But I'd say, 2007 is when I started auditioning consistently and felt like I was in it really.
Yeah.
But up until this last 4 months. Haven't really had anybody ever that I've been like, oh, they're a ride or die with me. Like these stories you hear about Leo DiCaprio having the same person his whole time, or Margot Robbie had somebody discover her, in Australia and brought her to the States, and like these people that you just, selfishly want that type of a rapport. And also I think I've always just been very headstrong. I'm like, I'm going to control what I can control and go balls to the wall. And so it was always so confusing to be like, man, like nobody, like they know what I'm doing. They don't want to meet me halfway even a little bit to try to like, but I think it was more of the people I've had that have been like, all right, cool. Like fucking he's going 110 miles an hour. So I'll just step in when I truly need to. I don't have to like step in and be like, let's pull over for a minute and talk about this and see maybe which exit to get off of. It's probably a better metaphor, but
no,
you know what I'm saying. So I got so conditioned to being like, and I have a tough time still now even finding that balance of being like, oh, I'll just handle that because I don't trust that it's going to get done.
Yeah. Yeah,
which I don't think is a bad thing because
no, it forces more accountability onto yourself, and for whatever reason, I just
taking
feel
charge
like
of your whole brand and what you're doing, and like I don't know, just being, it's us anyway for all this stuff, and I've had people that represented me where I'm like, oh, I've seeing them in public and how they interacted with people. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Don't come out anymore.
Yeah.
I'll represent us better than what you're doing. Yeah. You're actually getting in the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally can see that. And I think like the accountability that you have to put on yourself is something that I'm learning very much the hard way. Like it's nobody else's fault that things aren't going right for me, and I have to be so conscious of when that starts to creep in. Like it's not my agent's fault or the industry's fault or my fiance's fault or any, it's not like I'm overtly like just blaming people. It's just like when you are constantly trying to create things and stay on top of your game, you have to be conscious of what the objective view is and how the influence of everything else doesn't really affect it. Like sometimes I'll be like writing and it's not done and I'm trying to figure it out, and then my girlfriend will be like, what do you want for dinner? And I'm just like, fucking and she's like, and it's one of those things where it's like, I'm sorry, this isn't done, and that's not and I want something to be so linear, and I don't know if it's just because guys are simple or if it's just I'm just simple, but it's just like A and B and then that box is closed and then we can move on. But the accountability of taking it into your own hands has been something that I've really just had to like
you're doing
away at.
Yeah. I feel like you're very on top of it. I feel like, I'm sure a lot of questions. So who were you when you were out here and you were getting into just the business? So stand-up was an interest. You were like, at some point I'm going to
not pursue it.
Were you like a funny kid?
I guess so, but everybody says that. I just feel like I was just like I had always admired stand-up and admired it, but just from like the periphery. Like it was like, that's cool, you guys do that, I'm gonna do acting, and then that'll be my thing. Right. I love that.
Were you the funny kid in the family? Like, did you have?
I guess so.
Did anyone say at some point like you should try it, or were you making teachers laugh?
No, I mean I guess so. Like I grew up in very like theater-centric, intensive schools. Like both the middle school and the high school that I went to were performing arts, and like they didn't have sports on their thing. Like my sports stuff was curricular outside of that.
Gotcha.
So like I grew up like reading like Neil LaBute and Neil Simon and like all kinds of just like plays, like and even when I write now, it's like it's in like final draft format where it's like, and then I say this, and then the person who doesn't exist in my stand-up says this, and then and it's bizarre. So that's probably not the answer you were looking for at all. I feel bad, but I loved you in 22 Jump Street, and
I appreciate that.
Actually,
man.
It's so funny because I just watched the fucking Heat. I'm so mad at myself. I just watched it on a plane, and I'm mad that I switched those two.
No, because also like there's just so much shit to consume. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure people get your dog mixed up in the video with other dogs, right? Right? Wait, now, how long? Your dog's name is what?
Stella.
Stella, yeah. And got her for a service dog. She's a service dog.
Yeah, well, she was not like she was bred at a place where they breed dogs for service and dogs who are champions, like champions in like dog show, like
Whoa.
champions. But it's really hard right now because Stella is she's
That was
actually
a place where dogs became champions of like certain organizations.
like
Stella's
the dog
now
show.
championing like this, this charity, like
No, like the dog show, like where
Okay,
they
gotcha.
show dogs.
Where they become
yeah. But it's really sad now because she's like another reason that we're in town that I'm in town with my fiance is because she's like super sick right now.
Oh,
and
shit.
she's still really young, so it's like it's really hard because we're trying to take her to like we've been to like neurologists and cardiologists and like specialists. We were at UPenn and we were in Wisconsin and we've been in Kentucky.
Holy shit.
Dude, we've been flying all over to get her like all kinds of, and we had like a GoFundMe and shit, and it's crazy. So at the heart of why we're in town is because of that, and it's like I'm trying to be like creative, but when that is also consuming so much of the
there's no
the emotion of it.
You
it's
can't
hard.
fight that, and it's like I don't know. I think that family stuff like that just has to sometimes be what you're investing in at that time, and there is value in maybe trying to be like, let me go to the club and see if I can distract myself or do a set, but and sometimes that can pull you out of a rut.
Yeah.
But also, hey man, sometimes you just gotta like be in it, right?
Yeah.
And be there and not leave your girl and be there with Sal. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like you can't really write about it when you're so close to it. So you're just
I find that
you're
too
kind of just waiting
with anything,
for it.
right?
Yeah.
Like how soon did you start writing after your injury? Like
a few months. I felt so scared that I was just like, let me just write all the stuff. Let me just write, and I would never with the intention of doing stand up with it. Just like to journal it, right? Just to like be like, these are things that are going on, and this is what I can recount. This is what I can remember. Never to like use it. Just to be like,
what, you got knocked out?
Yeah, I had gone to sleep on a concussion, and I had like nerve damage, and like my motor skills were all messed up. So I was so scared that something worse at that time was what was, when someone says like your voice isn't really the biggest thing that's going on right now, there could be something neurological that's going on. You're just like kind of counting your days. You're just kind of like, I mean, not that like it was that dire, but you're just like, is it something that's deteriorating? Is it like, is there a leak in my head? You're just. When it's kind of the parallel between what's going on with my dog Stella and at that time is just you're running in circles of people saying like it could be this, I don't know, when the doctor's like conferring with you rather than telling you, you're like, does that right? Does that feel right to you? And you're like, what are you talking about?
Yes, you're just like pressing my cheek and be like, that hurts, right? You're like, dude, I mean, yeah, it should hurt you. That this is like your gauge to see if there's something wrong with my dog. Like, you're not even looking at my dog. You're just pressing my cheek.
Yeah.
That is, I can't even imagine going through that. And that's a normal, I think, human behavioral thing to have this door opened of possibilities of like, oh, this could be bad. And then for you to go, okay, let me adjust my way of thinking and living. Is that why you also then jumped right in? Because you were like, I don't know what the fuck truly the next few months could be like, so I might as well do this thing that I put off.
I think so. I felt like creatively, I was just smashed. Like I was just like, I have to do something to validate that I'm still a person and can do stuff. And as you know just as well, stand-up is it's so singular. So you can control everything that you want to say and how you want to say it or whatever. Like, I don't know. I guess I'd be curious to know why you got into it. Like, and do you find yourself being like, I'm a funny person, I have things that I have to say? Do you at all write from pain? Like, I hate the idea of saying that. That sounds so like indulgent to be like, do you write from your pain, man?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, like, there's so many different reasons for why we're in this, and some people are so like buoyant and it's innocuous. They're just like, yeah, I just fuck around and whatever, and they're hilarious, like. It's just crazy. I love like Fahim is somebody who comes to mind, and Fahim's just so funny. He's just like such a funny person, and his brain works in such a crazy way.
Works in a way that I will never aspire, or like it's just so in a different world, and you go, oh, you see jokes. He's got all the stuff that you like want. Where you got the silly, he's like smart, like the misdirect.
Yeah, I love all that. And then I'm over here just like, I write from pain. Like I have a past, and it's just like crazy how those two.
But isn't it cool to
exist.
recognize? And I've really tried to apply this in the last year. and it helps, I think, to just have a healthier day-to-day. The way that you view your peers, what you're doing is like what Fahim is doing. You know, there's pieces of that we go, oh man, like jealous of that, or you go, that's so great. And then being able to go, well, but what I'm doing is something different than he does.
Right.
And, you know, not something that he has mastered the way I have, because that's not his journey. That's not what he wants to do on stage or can do. And I think there is like validity in recognizing that in yourself, and not trying to compare and be
no, not at all.
You know, like I even had to start doing that with like crowd work in the last few years, where I go, I've seen, you know, you're truly on point with that as well. And it's I started doing it more in the last like 5 years, and then putting up these clips that would, you know, get me some good, you know, attention from that. And I started to kind of lean into it, but I didn't at first because a few comics that older than me that looked up to me kind of made some, you know, not so nice comments about it that kind of just immediately made me go, fucking, I'm what a hacky thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then I had some people that, you know, The Rock, posted on his Instagram, and we get into this hour-long conversation about crowd work.
So cool.
And break it down to a point to where I'm like, oh man, like it's an acquired skill set. And then it made me think of the times that I was doing it where I was so bad. And then I'm like, oh, it's not something that because it is so second nature for me now, that I just kind of quickly go, oh, it's just something you do. So like, you know, brush it to the side as far as being like another piece of creativity and, I don't know, artistry, whatever, that I've honed.
Yeah.
And then in seeing, you know, other comics, you go, oh, not everybody chooses to, you know, make that a part of their show as much as I do.
Yeah.
So there's that where I go, I feel like I'm a little, you know, trying to separate yourself as a white dude a little bit, but just took pride in it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which was crazy that even went through, that again, in my 30s as a grown adult man, could hear a couple comments of people that have nothing to do with what I'm doing, and take that so to heart, to where I was just like, oh, fuck that thing that I was pumped about, that I enjoyed, you know, and it like, it took it out of it for me, and it was a bummer. And now I really am in a place where I'm leaning into it as far as like, yeah, that's fucking, and that's a thing that people come out to shows after, because of the clips, or in a weekend of a show will come back because, oh, I know now, like, there's always going to be something that's different. And that for me too, and I want to hear what your thoughts on this are, of making each show different, aside from just your material, which gets monotonous for me.
Right.
I can't be up there if I don't feel like there's going to be something that happens completely out of nowhere.
Well, first of all, you're so conversational with it that it's like you're built not for it. Do you know what I'm saying? But when we're talking about these stock characters where it's like, okay, like Fahim has this and he's got so many strengths, and then Adam's got this, he's got so many. Like, first of all, that's what makes the time that we're in being a comedy boom, because everybody can be like, I love this for this person, I love this for this. It's amazing. And you're so, like when I watch Big J do it, he's also so conversational. Like, you're just so conversational when I watch your clips. And I think for me, once people started coming to shows because there was interaction, then people almost expect that sometimes, and then once there is the level of expectation is anywhere, then the fun immediately gets deflated from it. Because then, and there is always a pressure to deliver, or the pressure to perform, because that's why people are there to see you, and they want to have a great night, and you want to also fulfill that. But it's just such a quick and deep tipping point for me when I do feel like the expectation becomes something. I go always again. I always want to go against that. It's like, just let me be like, I'll do it, but just give me a sec. Like, I'll do it, but like, and so it's hard. You can get the monotony of like being like, I want to work on a joke and people are shouting to interrupt it, or you can get the monotony of I've done this joke so long, please someone fucking interrupt me so I can, So it's wild. You're in the duality of feeling like I'll never be happy one way or the other, maybe. So when we're talking about what comics comics that you're referring to saying about your crowd work, like, what are you doing or whatever, and it's just like, who's to say? Who's to say what's right other than what makes you feel good? Because there's comics right now who have respect of other comics who aren't as successful as they deserve to be, and there are comics who are so successful who have zero respect from other comics because of maybe their trajectory or ethic or content or whatever.
Or the way they've treated people on the way up.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's a big part of that. It is. I've also just been a big advocate of like the stage is yours for what you want to do with it.
Yeah.
And like. It is such a, when I would do the potluck open mic at the Comedy Store and have to immediately shift my mindset of like, stop performing for the comics that are watching you and do it for you, because I kept going up there trying to kill instead of like actually using it for the workout, which is, just a transition in itself. Then you realize, oh yeah, like who fucking cares if this person I look up to watches me do something and doesn't like it. It's not like you're... Yeah. But that part of it too, and just to go back to like being out here and being around that energy, it's a blessing and a curse because you get, introduced to that dynamic of performing in LA, a place where there is that competition and that you can't help but feel like
the pressure's on to do well.
Yeah, more so than probably starting in like Columbus, Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Has the joy for performing, did it grow from before and after AGT? And like the shows you're doing now and your video, I mean, you have, all your videos have millions of views, which is crazy and rightfully so. And I mean, there's a lot of questions here.
That's okay.
Let's answer that first one.
Sure.
More fun to perform with people coming out, knowing they're coming for you, sold out shows. Going into a weekend, they're like, we're adding one, or it's already sold out. Does that get you jacked up, or does that make you nervous?
I miss featuring. I miss it, and it's gonna sound so shitty to anybody who's like, I would love to be doing shows, and if you add a show, or if you get to. But
we'll gladly bring you on the road to boost my tickets. By the way, if that's what you're asking for right now. That is a no-brainer.
I just want to feature.
I'll get you a flight. I'll buy all your salads. I'm assuming you eat salads. That's all I'm paying for.
Bro, it's not. I feel awful saying that, but there is merit to what I'm saying, because when you feature, there is zero pressure for anything. And for anything, you just like all you have to do is basically not entirely tank, or if you do, who cares? The headliner will be able to they'll be equipped to deal with that. But for the most part, they're not there to see you, so who cares? You can work. It could all be new. You can do 20 minutes 8 o'clock and 20 minutes 10 o'clock. That's 40 minutes that you're just wanting to work on, and that feels so under the radar. Where it doesn't matter. The stakes of it all doesn't matter, and you do have to push past this idea that, all right, am I going to try new things for people who are buying tickets to see me on the road, or am I going to try new things in LA where I'm going up in between, like, Donnell Rawlings and like smashers, where you're just like, I want to, let's talk about the abortion ban, and you're like, what? Yeah. Like it's like. It's like, again, it's just, there's just the pros and cons of each, so you're just kind of I do love where I am at, but there is sometimes this second voice that takes me more effort to try and quiet down, that is like, dude, you're okay, you're in this position because you got yourself in this position, this is where you want to be, you're comfortable in a lot of areas in your life, so just relish in the fact that you can be grateful for what you have, and trust that you have the skill set to do it again and again. And that's hard, because some days it doesn't, sometimes it's not that.
Well, I would venture to assume if you have any down day, you just go back and watch that AGT video where you got the gold X. Have you even seen it?
I saw it one time.
Yeah. Did you get choked up?
No. I don't. I mean, I watched it and I got mad at myself. I was just like, dude, like, talk. You know what I mean? It's frustrating. It's frustrating because
just talk. What do you mean?
like when I know what the words are that are supposed to be said,
Yeah.
and they're not coming out. I think I get more frustrated with my stutter than maybe a lot of people.
Oh, so you're
And
not saying not being able to articulate. You're talking about the.
I'm talking
stutter
about the
getting in
actual
way.
words. Yeah, I'm talking about the actual words. It hurt because I grew up my whole life not talking like that.
Yeah.
So I've heard it's been so long, but I've heard the way that doesn't go out, like that doesn't come out that
Yeah.
way, and then so when and so it's hard to not, like, I would say, to not be upset with yourself for also the reason that you're talking about a lot of things you talk about. And right now, I rarely talk about my stutter just because I want it to be I don't want it to be something that is a focal point. I want people to care about the things I'm saying, not the way that I'm saying it, all that stuff.
Have you worked on it? Because I feel like it's almost unnoticeable at
Thank
this
you,
point.
thank you.
Versus that clip especially.
Yeah,
and I noticed that in clips I've just seen of you online, and I'm like, knowing nothing about it, I was like, can you just grow out of it, or did you take a pill, is it like just do a push-up regimen?
I also do mushrooms. I came in my pants, or I didn't. Or I didn't.
You know what I'm saying? Because it seemed like it was at its height at that point.
It is. I mean, you get, first of all, you get onto a show where they're like, you got 90 seconds and you could be out, and you're just like, all right, So that
you're like, hey guys, my stutter's gonna be half that time.
Yeah,
so do you want to maybe give me another 90?
Yeah, please. Can I get where aren't there organizations like, what is it? Fucking the FIFA? PETA. No, who controls FAA? Who the fuck is in charge of why I get more time on?
Yeah, I think it's FAA.
Yeah.
The DEA? Yeah. Yeah.
Why'd I
the
say
NBA? The WNBA? AT&T.
I said FIFA.
Can you hear me now? Who is it? It's one of those.
The WNBA.
Yeah. Somebody needs to step up is all we're saying.
So it's that, but it's been I think for me, I have gotten so much more comfortable with. First of all, I've taken speech therapy for years, and in quarantine, I spent the whole time. I meditated for hours every single day. Like every single day, I meditated
for hours.
I
thought like 20 minutes was like min and max.
I'm not good at it, but it's something that I got. I spent just a lot of time, and then it's crazy. It's crazy because first of all, I do microdose. I have done speech therapy. My teacher, her name's Naomi, and she's like amazing. Like she's like she ends up like it's almost like I end up talking conversationally about some of the things that are bothering me emotionally, and she'll sometimes correct me things that speech-wise can help with that as well. And there is some kind of correlation sometimes between things that are going on physically and things that are going on emotionally.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it comes down to we all have everybody's got something, right? But me being okay with it has got to be the thing that changes. If I stutter and I'm cool with it, it's going to be so much easier. But again, it's just the pressure of something building up and knowing that I have to nail an interaction. Like, let's say I'm going to talk to Adam Ray. Let's say I'm going to talk to somebody at the store. Like, let's say I'm going to say hey to Andrew Santino or whatever. I want to make a good impression, not just as a person, but also as a comic, but also appear confident, appear like you're composed or that you're capable of doing stand-up.
Man.
So there's just all of these additional voices that are just like, dude, you don't need any of that. Like you're putting all this pressure to do that. And the more that I can hopefully separate myself as I'm a person, I deserve to be able to talk about things separate from the way that I have talked. I know that I'm not a gimmick. I know that I shoot people straight. I have to embrace more of that,
Wow. Yeah, knowing your intentions is pretty imperative.
Yeah.
And just like you said, it's I know from the get-go in meeting you and talking to you, it was just and that's something for then you to also pick up on. It's all right, if I'm going to be talking to someone who's looking at me, looking for a way to get out of the conversation because they're uncomfortable, or someone who you can tell is going to go off in the corner and make fun of, which I'm sure, I'm curious about that aspect too, because, I was a fat kid. That's where a lot of the, I guess, talking about pain, but it's now I make jokes about it, but it's the reason I got into comedy, because I started making kids laugh, my classmates and whatnot, and it was I was the funny kid, not the fat kid. So I think I was just like, oh, cool, I'll just keep doing that. It seems to come easier than normal. So if that's what's making people shift the way they look at me and treat me, then game over.
Dude, I first of all, I was a fat kid as well, but also
How fat?
like not whoa fat, but I got made fun of for my weight as a kid, and I was like, I mean, I have a picture that I could show you that's like,
we should get those and put them side by side and play a game called Who Would You Fuck? the pedophile edition.
It would be weird if I had picked me. I'd fuck that kid.
By the way, real quick, you just reminded me when Brad Williams and I were doing the podcast, and I had we had Brent Morin on.
Yeah.
And Brad had found this picture of him dressed as a woman, but like full on, like makeup, everything for some shoot.
Of Brent?
Of Brad dressed as a dwarf woman.
Oh, that's amazing.
I guess I could have just said woman.
Yeah.
Still a dwarf.
Yeah.
And so we show it to Brent, and we're like, "Would you smash? Like, this is one of Brad's friends." And Brent was like, "Yeah, I mean, like she's cute." And we're like, "That's Brad."
That's Brad.
And it was a great moment because it was
Can't
sincere.
take it back.
You can't take it back.
You have to.
It's out there.
You have to have sex with Brad.
Yeah, yeah, you have to commit now.
Sorry. So yeah, I was a fat kid as well. But anyway, sorry, I did not want to.
Well, the teasing
I was just
part,
gonna,
as an adult,
yeah.
like, was it that aspect? People again in the world of I don't want to feel bad for myself. This happened. You're dealing with you're probably not even thinking of the adult onslaught that could come your way because you're hopefully just I would think be like, okay, people are more decent than not, and there shouldn't be any, especially as an adult. The teasing as a kid that I endured, and I think that you endured, the kids endure, is I almost feel bad for the kids that are doing it because I feel like they're a product of their environment or they're insecure themselves.
Yeah.
Kids also just don't know any better. When kids would call me Jello Jiggler, looking back, I'm like, very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Cosby was on top of the world at that time, so topical.
His kids got these jokes.
This kid doesn't even know what's about to come down the pipeline with this impression, but
how did it age better?
Yeah. But so, like, as an adult, I would, hope that there just wasn't much coming your way. But I mean, you tell me, like, I don't know, videos, right? The comment sections of seeing the first, even as something as emotional and powerful as your AGT, there probably still were shitheads that were just like, right? Do you see any of that? Did you get any of that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, that was something that I was not prepared for either. I mean, you can't prepare yourself for that. I mean, AGT, however long ago that was still like, that was like the start of things for me. So I just like, I do feel bad. I was inspired when I saw like Sarah Silverman, like some guy was like hazing Sarah, like was saying awful things to her, and then she just like reached out and was like, "Hey man, like what's going on?" You remember that?
Yeah,
like
that was great.
It's great. What a beautiful like person, and so secure to be able to just do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't, and I remember just feeling like, how could they, like, I'm so vulnerable, I'm so fragile with where I am, and like I need this, and it's not fair to put my validation on an external outcome. That's not fair, and that's, if you do that, you're gonna lose every time. But I just felt like at that time I was just feeling like, the universe is like letting me know like I'm okay and that I can be here and I can exist and that I can be accepted. But there's always going to be the flip side to that.
Yeah.
And I did a show last night, and I don't even think I addressed my speech whatsoever. I was just doing whatever, and it, again, not something it's not what I want to talk about. It's not at the forefront. And I was hanging out after a show, which again, that's rare for me, but I was hanging out and I was trying to say bye to the comics. And there was a girl who came up and she's like, "Hey, I saw your special," and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." That I hadn't seen anybody who had seen my special and then saw me at a show, so I thought that was cool. She's like, "I saw your special. It was bad." No, she was like, "No." She's like, "I saw your special. It was great." And but your stutter, like, that's not like really what happened, like, right? Like, is it real or is it not? And I was just like, whoa, fuck, man. Like, I can. And then it's crazy because in that conversation, like, it was genuine up until that point. And then and I wasn't even thinking about it, and then she mentions it, and then it's just, I immediately, my shoulders raise, I tense, I tense in my jaw, I've got crazy, like, TMJ, I just have, like, and it's just made me realize that it will be a very hard thing to try to just say I'm a pure person who has the intention of talking about what I want to talk about, and I don't need to exploit something for the purposes of being a gimmick or to get a laugh if that's not what I feel. But at the same time, I feel sometimes held back by like people. Like I wasn't stuttering until you brought up the fact that, and now I'm fucking aware of it.
Of course.
And it's like how if in the special I am talking about how people say things like this, and then you can almost do the next example, like you can do almost a paralleled example of that afterwards. It's so weird. I don't know, man. To answer your question, and I'm sorry that was winded. To answer your question, the expectation has always been, I've always wanted there to be higher expectations that I ask from people because I would always give them the same. I would never criticize somebody for anybody who's trying a thing. Like I've never been critical of like music or fucking anything because being on the other side of it, you're just like, who cares? They're trying, and you fucking do it then. You do it.
Totally.
You know?
I'm
sure you feel the same way. It's just,
of course.
How can you,
When also it's just for people that go out of their way to say things like that when they're like, it has no, like, why would you even, what do you gain from like asking you, oh, that was like, that's not really what happened, right? You added that for the special,
for
right?
the,
Like, what happens if you, like, what are you trying to, you're going to go home and then out you? Like, or get on the blog. You have a blog called fakestutter.com where it's just highlighting all the people that are, doing it for show. I don't know. And you're probably really dealing with this because now you have so many fans and so many views and so many followers and so many people coming to shows where you probably want to give everyone benefit of the doubt as far as like people are good people. Like you tell yourself like they want to, like they freeze up. They're meeting me. It's a bigger deal than I'm allowing to recognize that maybe they slip up and say something fucked up.
Right, sure. Which is always a thing. Like, that's always a thing. Someone saying, like, I didn't mean the way to say that. That can happen. So then you give people the benefit of the doubt there.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if your family members have ever done this, and I have this, where they'll say things out of character just because you are a comic. And they're like, well, you'll spin it and make it funny to avoid the awkwardness for the both of us. Like my stepmom before she passed, R.I.P., we're sitting there, my dad and she and I watching some bullshit show. I think it was Naked and Afraid. It was the third time we had watched like the 5th season. My dad loved that show. He was like, I like the way the boobs bounce when their butts jiggle. I was like, that's not even a sentence. Let's keep watching. And then my dad's and stepmom at the time's poodle was dry humping a little troll and just going to town. Like, and I used to say, I was like, it felt like it was in the height of the Me Too movement. So I was like, I feel like stuffed animals are like not probably at the top of the list of who we should be going after, or I'm sorry, dogs, but like this is pretty. And then my stepmom sees it, and she literally just like, it's a commercial break, so there's nothing to have on the tube. We're all looking down. The squeaks are pretty apparent. Even the stuffed animal almost like turned in a way like and looked at us like, you're not gonna do anything, really? And then my stepmom just goes, without missing a beat, just goes, well, at least somebody's gonna come tonight. By the way, she's 3 months away from hospice and just is dropping these mic drop moments. And I laugh. Yeah. Very funny.
Yeah, very great.
But also, like, she's not a comic. She was also in this near-death, kooky state where she was... But she'd always been like that, where she would say shit to me that was, like, not funny, but, like, she just felt like she had a little bit more of a leash to say shit. And I have other family members like that then... And then, of course, I will. Even friends in social situations will say stuff, and then I'll have to laugh it off uncomfortably or yes and it, and then do something to get out of it. And honestly, it's helped for sure for crowd work because you get people that, same thing, like you put them on the spot, they're trying to be funny, or they don't know what to say, or they're fucked up, or something happens, and you're like, okay, cool, I now can... I trust that I can, be equipped to handle any response. Have you had people like that in your life, though?
So, personal, like where it can be the most uncomfortable, where it's just like, like my sister came out a few years ago, and it became like. It became like my say what?
To visit? No, came out.
Just like came out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, she's visited, but she came out and was like, I should tell you in person. I'm coming out to come out.
I love that.
Yeah, but so
that's better than like a text, right?
Yeah.
I'm always curious, like that's a big life thing, but like if you can't travel across country, or work's tying you down, do you just send an emoji? and just go. You figure it out. Or what is it even?
They have like prayer hands, but like one. I don't know.
It's like jazz hand. I don't know. What is it? Is there a?
One is more
Just a
like
rainbow,
a vagina.
maybe?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's gay, and I and it's just my family's from the Midwest, so they're just like like you talk about your sister being gay yet,
Yeah.
and it's just like
Whoa.
man.
They say that to you as like on stage.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, no,
you
like
using
family.
this gold
just,
mine of comedy yet?
Yeah. It's just like you're talking about yes anding like when you yes and friends who are not comics, you're just like I don't even want to do this right now. Like this, like the first one wasn't weird. The foundation has to be good in order for this to go somewhere. And sometimes it can be like when you get with like family, sometimes things can be like with not the right intention sometimes.
Yes.
And you're like, all right, I don't feel that way. So you have to understand, like, I'm trying to be good spirited about the fact that you're recognizing that my profession, but at the same time,
Yes.
Let's try to be not that.
Oh yes, I have a family member on my fiance's side that like during COVID was like, I ain't getting the vaccine. She's like, I'm just eating more echinacea, drinking more celery juice, and I was just like, I was like, and then I, with a straight face, was like, taking longer showers apparently also does it now. Mountain Dew Code Red, breathing in secondhand smoke from
Mountain Dew Code Red.
and then at that point she was just like, well. I didn't like pick up on it because I love to just straight face fuck with people. And she was like, well, I don't know about the Mountain Dew part. I was like, well, I do because I was joking. But also, what are you doing with your echinacea?
So this is why I've dissected why your comedy works. So I've figured this out.
Finally, dude.
I'll go public with this. This is why is because it's crazy. It's crazy it's crazy that you were a fat kid because when you're on stage, you're the guy that I think other guys wish they were. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do,
and
but
then the guy that like girls wish that they could have or guys wish that they could have. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It could go. It's unlimited for you.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like they're like and I don't like I've got like alpha energy in a beta body and I accept that, but and not really alpha energy either. But I know that like for my thing is like mine's like my vibe is just neurotic and very like it's on edge, but yours is just so like you do have that ability to without missing a beat, just keeping like the tone the same while still like to where people might not even recognize that it's already happened. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that I think is like why that works. I think like there's certain presences that happen on stage where it like if you ever watch Alonzo Bowden go on stage, you're like, Jesus, like he just like the whole room just like it's crazy. So there's just certain presences and certain gravitas whatever that are I know the plural. They're graviasha. That's for my hair. That's for my hair. That everybody has their own like kind of thing, and so I find that to be like really fascinating, and in that way, prior to me doing stand up, that was always something I was a fan of about it. Was just like there's this person that's got like this thing. It's like It's like Monsters Inc. It's like how can that person scare like how can that monster scare that way, and then that one can do it that way.
Totally.
Yeah.
It does take a minute to realize that like there are different types of there are different types of doing this, and that you don't have to be the. I would see comics when I first started and be like, oh, I gotta have big energy or I can't crush.
Wow.
Or I gotta take my. Then we get into it and I'd start to see Gaffigan and really like him. Like Greg Giraldo was my favorite comic, and it still is of all time. Who I think actually today is like I want to say 15, I think he passed in 2007 or 8, so 15 or 16 years, I don't do math, from when he passed. But Gaffigan I really love. And so when I started, they're completely different energies. And so I started to see Gaffigan, I was like, fuck, I got to slow way down. Just after watching one special, I was like, all right, I got to change my entire approach.
Food. I got to talk about food.
I got to get whiter. I got to change my hair color. I got to get a family. I got to get a family that loves me. Yeah, it's just so crazy. the compare and contrast. Your special is so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, really crushed it. Production value wise, content wise, I feel like you probably worked that a decent amount before you taped it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Concussed,
Aristotle
out on YouTube everywhere. Aristotle directed it.
Yeah, he directed it. He's so great. But yeah, he directed it, and he had the like the design and everything, and man, it was a great experience.
Where'd you do it at?
But Oklahoma City. And it's crazy because that's such a liberal city in such a red place.
Oh yeah, my mom was from there. My
really?
grandparents lived there for a while. I would visit there all the time, and it was
Have you done that club there? The
Bricktown, not yet.
Bricktown?
Yeah,
oh, it's so much fun.
I want to.
I mean, because you've done Tacoma, you've done Spokane,
Yeah.
and these are those guys,
I
and
know.
they
Norwest,
are.
yeah.
I mean, that club is my favorite. Like, we'll have to talk afterwards. It is. When I first did that club when it opened in January in 2020.
Okay.
And when I did it, I was just like, I mean, it's low ceilings, it's wide, it's got like nice little like lighting, and the crowds are so great. Like, you'll get people who, you know, come up from Texas, and then there's people who are from Oklahoma, like, and it's just like and the city is so like. The city itself is very like young, and like it's very like accepting. So
Yeah.
I when I first did the club, I fell in love with the club, and then in quarantine, I just spent between the times that I was meditating or trying to, I was writing like a lot, and I think like, you know, I was doing like random shows where I was doing like outdoor spots for friends in like New Hampshire, and I was doing like little coffee shops where I would just stop in, and I would be like, can I just run an hour? And they're like, I guess. I mean, there's people like on their laptops and stuff, and I was like it doesn't matter. I just need to like try to like get it in my
audience, some attentive people that are giving me some gauge.
Yeah, and you know, I used to podcast a lot more, but I got like I didn't like it as much for whatever reason, but a lot of the ideas that I had in the special came from just, you know, kind of talking into a mic and then listening back to it. It's never like what you're saying when you're saying it that's like, oh, this is great. It's the editor, the person who listens to it, when you come back and listen to it the second time, you're like, okay, like this is what that person, I think this is what Drew was trying to say or didn't see that he could have said. And so that was the only gauge that I really had to trying to like revise and like edit a lot of that shit.
Hey guys, Adam Ray here for the About Last Night podcast. Hope you're enjoying this episode. Obviously, it's a very difficult time for everyone right now. We're all challenged in finding a day-to-day routine that makes our lives consistent and awesome. And if there's something that's interfering with your happiness right now or preventing you from achieving your goals, BetterHelp Online Counseling is there for you. BetterHelp is a professional counseling service, online, private, and it's so convenient. I've used it for a little bit now. It's truly the only way that I've found to help get my own issues dealt with on my own time at my own pace. You can schedule secure video or phone sessions, plus chat and text with your licensed professional counselor right now. They're specialized in depression, anger, stress, anxiety, family conflicts, LGBT matters, grief or relationships, sleeping, which I have a lot of trouble with, trauma, self-esteem. Anything that you share with them is confidential. And guess what? If you're not happy with your counselor for any reason, at any time, you can request a new one for no additional charge. There's 3,000 U.S. licensed therapists across all 50 states, available worldwide. And again, there's 4 ways to communicate with them: text, chat, phone, and video. You can start communicating in under 24 hours. It's available on any desktop, mobile web, Android, and iOS apps. Schedule a video or phone session, generally weekly, unless your therapist schedules more. Unless you just are really not sleeping and need to get some additional chats in. There's broad expertise in the network, which may not be locally available in many areas. Financial aid is available for those who qualify. It's secure, it's convenient, it's professional, and above all, it's affordable. All right, it's truly the most affordable option I found. So right now, all ALN listeners are going to get 10% off your first month with a discount code About Last Night. So why not get started today and start making some changes for the better in your life? You deserve it. So go to BetterHelp.com/AboutLastNight. Simply fill out a questionnaire to help them assess your needs and get matched with a counselor that you'll love. That's BetterHelp.com/AboutLastNight. BetterHelp.com/AboutLastNight and get 10% off your first month Promo code about last night. And now back to the episode. Even the I guess sketch up top, which I'm sure was your idea or
just my idea.
Aristotle's?
Yeah.
Awesome, because that flicks your acting chops, which
Thanks.
I guess I just assumed, but it was cool to see it like played out as far as like, oh yeah, this is another weapon in your arsenal, which is great that you did that, because I think that is important. It's like you can get a sense of that from somebody's stand-up, that they, depending on their act outs or just whatever, or just go, I bet they feel like they could handle some dialogue and be able to have timing in a scene versus just an hour with a crowd. But it was really that part was really great, and just added to it.
Thank you.
Is that something that you were like intentionally wanting to make a part of it, or because I know a lot of people were like, oh, just intro, go right into it.
Yeah.
Were you always like, oh, I kind of like that as a part of the specials?
It's weird because like after it came out, I was like, oh, this is like pretentious. Don't do a scene. Don't do a scene. It's just, it was like, who cares? Like, just do your stand up. In fact, do less of your stand up too. Like, don't do the special.
Yeah.
But at the time when you're trying to be like, oh, I want to do something that's a little different.
Yeah.
So many specials start just linearly. There's a scene, I'm getting ready for the show, or I'm whatever, or whenever, and then the special, and then there can be something at the end. But I wanted to like retrofit it where it was like the scene that was taking place was actually after the special, and then the special happened, so it flashes 1 hour before. So in that way, it had some kind of like artistic whatever undertone, I guess. But seeing it back, I'm just like, who cares? Just let the work of the special speak for itself. And
that's
going to
be with anything though that you do, that you're going to be your own worst critic.
When you watch yourself like act, would you rather watch yourself act, or would you rather watch yourself do stand up?
Oh man, I mean, I just.
It's tough to have to choose between both. Right? You're so good at both of them.
Hilarious. Every night before I go to bed, I pop in a couple 22 Jump Street DVDs and just start jerking off. No,
fuck, that's not me.
Well, I'm here. Boy, Channing Tatum has been working out, huh? Hello? Oh, I thought.
Oh, that was Johnny Depp.
I don't like either, but I'm more interested because I just taped what I hope will be something I'm going to put out in the next year. Sooner
really?
than that.
Wait, when?
In San Fran at the Punchline.
Really?
And
this is an album?
Special.
You have the best voice for an album, dude.
Oh, thanks, man.
God, man.
I mean, yeah, the face is.
We could not be on opposite ends of like the voice.
Tequila.
This is where
baby.
Range goes.
Did your dad leave it when you were 9? And did you start finding about pot junior of high school? Do you still think you could be one of the Ninja Turtles? Hi, I'm Adam Ray. This voice has come from a lot of pain, but a lot of fun. I have started to have to watch some of these sets back. We taped like 6 cams, like on 5 shows. I'm deciding whether to use a little bit from each, all in from one set, or one show, which I think I'm going to do. And then I have
too much footage.
Some people,
dude.
it is, and I am dreading as much as there's one show that we all agreed we were like that was it.
Yeah.
As far as like material, energy, some of the craziest and best crowd work as far as the way it was happened and tied together, like 3 different scenarios, makes it seem obvious. But I have for almost a week now put off watching it, and I'm like, oh man, because I just don't. I think a little bit of me doesn't want to watch it with a critical eye and go, oh, that's not how it felt.
Yeah.
Even though my buddies who taped it are already very like, this is it and whatever. So now there's even more pressure. With the acting stuff, I think, it's what I came here to do, and I've had a little bit more of it in the last year to where I am a little more. I can watch it, but with a more of a critical eye, because I'm just like, this was a bigger deal, and it's more sporadic of an opportunity. So like, but again, I heard Johnny Depp never watches this shit. Has never. I saw him on Letterman once, and he was just like, "Hey, you were great in Chocolat," and he was like, "I've never seen it. I don't watch any of my stuff. I don't care, Dave. I'm good to know I was great." You know? He's like, "What am I gonna do once it's done?" And I'm like,
"Such a good point.
Good a point." And also like, I don't know. Like he's like, I focus on how I felt about it as I was doing it, and I was like, man, I'm getting closer and closer to that. I think because
That's good.
Because man, you truly can't do anything about it.
That's what's hard is like, and that's what I miss about when you act. It's out of your hands afterwards. It doesn't, you did what you did, and then that's it. And you don't. And the intention of ever watching anything back for myself, never. Like people are like, you watched yourself when you did Marin, right? And I was like, fucking no way. I'm not gonna watch myself. I like Marin. I'll watch Marin. I'll watch that up until my scenes, and then I won't watch it. But like I miss that. But with stand up, you actually have to listen back to what you do and what you do in order to get it. So and the fact that you have so much footage to go through, that is hours of footage.
Yeah, because now I have to just decide which version it's going to be, a one show thing or and like you said, it's like I don't think there's any rule book for it. There's people that have already chimed in being like, it's got to be that, it's got to be that. Even an old manager that was like, got to do a theater. Your first intro has got to be grandiose and aesthetically like that. I'm like, yeah, but this club, which I love, is the first show I saw live was Patrice O'Neal there with a girl I was dating who was from there, and we were visiting her folks, and I was like, I really want to see this guy. I've heard this club is historic just from knowing about Robin Williams starting there and all the San Fran boom, and so we sat, and I remember watching him for a little over 2 hours, brilliantly, crush with his material, but then again like weave in like 4 different crowd work things, and I was just like, whoa. And again, that same thing of like so intimidated, but I was like, that's, I think if I do this, I was still a year away from jumping in of what I wanted to do. So there's an added value to the nostalgia of the room for that, and also I just think it fits what my show is and would be a good representation of it. Now, obviously, with COVID and stuff, there was some seating stuff that was kind of janky, but I think we can with all the coverage, I think you can get around that without showing, because I definitely don't think you want to highlight if there's like a gap of seats anywhere, because people do, you got to spoon feed the presentation a little bit so that they're not like, oh, there's an empty little section there. Huh? So this is his special, but it's not he wasn't ready for it. Maybe I don't know, whatever they will create. But who are you voting for in 2020? In 2020, I don't know whenever the next one's coming up is. But anyway, enough about me. Drew, this has been amazing. I want to close this out. Good to hang. Good to see you too.
Yeah,
and thanks for making time.
Yeah, I could talk.
I know, man.
So much fun. I could talk for so long.
1,000%. Yeah, but we want to wrap this up because I think people probably tuned out about 45 minutes ago.
Yeah. Dude, we really peaked after the beginning thing. Man, that stuff was
we really did.
Gabby Petito thing was
hot.
Really fun,
and then the Foxworthy stuff.
Yeah,
I could have just done actually another hour of us making up.
Why did we do? We did your special. This is so much footage.
Can you imagine? I just end up taking chunks of this, and you're like, "Do I get any piece of that?" I'm like, "No, we're gonna cut around you, but your voice is in there if that's cool." By the way, did you stutter for the podcast, or is that real? Is that yeah, man. You're you're truly awesome, and I'm just success is all overly deserved. People should know this too, that like you there's no replacement for the work in this profession, which is why it's so great. Like there's no shortcut. Even if you do get some opportunities quicker than normal, hey man, you're either ready for it or you're not, because all that stuff plays out the way it's supposed to. But like, man, you put the pedal to the metal and you fucking worked and are working your ass off. And I hope you're pumped and proud about like the work you put out, and on all platforms, even TikTok and the gram and just your videos, like, and I read this stuff too, and know people that are fans of you that just speak to the consistency and like the joy that you bring people,
thanks,
and
man.
Inspiring on a level that whether you're adamantly trying to do that through all this, and I know you speak about it, which is big, but that shouldn't be lost on you, how much you're like giving people. And I'm sure, and we could do a part 2 about this, but like the messages you've received, I'm sure, right? And just the adulation of people being like, we get it already just in what we're doing, because you just get people coming to your shows. I had a few this weekend that were had just lost a baby, and they were just fucking like, were on the verge of tears, being like, we hadn't gone out since then. And it's just this was the show they picked. They didn't know who I was, which fucking hurt a little bit. And I was like, well, fucking, this is, maybe you weren't ready to be a parent. No, I didn't say that at all. We'll edit this out. But we'll edit this out. But I fuck it, that was terrible. I actually gave them a hug, a big group hug. I almost started crying too. But it was like really special that that they were so also stopped to like share all that with me, and they were like, this night, like, and the guy was like, she hasn't smiled or like laughed in like a month and a half, and it was like, you know, and that had followed like 2 guys with the same mustache and suspenders, like they were like, this is the best show we've seen in a long time, and then she's like, this is the first. It was just such a crazy juxtaposition of emotion post show to where I was like, whoa, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I know you get that 10 times fold.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
You sometimes forget that that's what we do. We sometimes just do it for ourselves. It's hard to be like,
man.
oh, wait. That's crazy.
Yeah. Do you have one in particular before I close this out with some other goofs that really like made you go, whoa, I am not doing this just for me. Like there's.
Yeah, there's been. I did a show in at the Mall of America. That the show
Awesome.
that
House of Comedy.
Yeah, buddy. The vacuum.
They should make those ceilings higher.
Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ.
I mean,
can we stack the crowd, please, so it makes it feel like we're using the space?
just do it at the water park.
Jesus, dude. Because then we'll have fun. I did a show. There was a mom who her kid had like a terminal cancer, and she went and saw the first show, drove to the hospital, and got the kid who was not supposed to be discharged. Got the kid, came for the meet and greet, and saw me for the meet and greet, pictures and everything, and then drove him back, and then came back to the second show.
Whoa.
And like kid was like at the end.
At the end.
And I'm shaking like thinking about it because I couldn't believe what she would. Like the kid had like the gown and like things in his arm, and he's just like.
He was a fan, yeah, and she was just like he couldn't come to the show.
Obviously,
yeah,
because of the age and the age restriction, and then just literally came to that show, drove him, came back. And she's like, we got to do this really fast, and I like rushed him to the front. I got him like some shirts, and I was like, please everybody, can we like just wait? This is insane. Because she talked to me before the show. She's like, can we do this? And I was like, yeah, we could do this. I mean, it's crazy. Like you've talk about like the gravity of that moment. Like literally, I for the rest of the meet and greet, I couldn't even. You're not thinking about anything other than that.
Mm-mm.
I'm still not. You're not thinking about anything other than that because you're just like, well, I'm not big enough to even know that I could impact somebody in that way.
Yeah.
If that's what meant that, the kid was 8, 9, but for whatever reason, the idea of like coming through adversity in whatever way or, I don't know, man. I'm just getting like, it's crazy, bro. Like that's crazy, and she's just. Saying like he's not supposed to leave, but he wanted to see you so badly, and I got to get him back. And it's like,
what an amazing mom, by the way.
Yeah.
Just hitting a fucking home run.
It's crazy, dude. Man.
Yeah.
If I knew what a home run was.
You might be a redneck if you don't get the baseball reference after a terminal cancer story, you might be a redneck. We got it. All right. All right. So Inside the Actor Studio, one of my favorite shows. We're going to take a quick little detour. James Lipton, R.I.P. You no doubt would have been on that show at some point. So we're going to do my favorite part of that show, which was the closeout 10 questionnaire.
Oh, wow.
Through Lipton to get to know Drew Lynch a little bit better.
Wow.
At Drew Lynch on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, sure.
And Concussed is the special on YouTube. Go watch it and enjoy it now. It's incredible.
Thank
Drew, what is your favorite word?
Oh, do these have to be quick?
No.
Oh,
you can email me
okay.
tonight.
Okay.
Where's my, can you believe this guy, Cam?
Oh, man. Pejorative. That's a good word.
Ooh.
Pejorative, because it's got a J in there, and you're just like, what?
What?
Dude?
What does it mean, by the way?
I don't know, man.
For a friend,
I use
for a
it all the
friend. I know
time,
what
yeah.
that means, yeah.
I use it all the time, too, man. I know what it means, but I know.
So the J is silent.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Pejorative.
Pejorative. Yeah, it's one of those, but it's got like a connotation to it, so.
Are you a fan of like picking up new words and
I
throwing
love
them in
it.
the rotation.
Try to work it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used regalia one time on a podcast, and
Yikes.
it
How
fit.
fast
It actually
were you kicked
fit.
off that podcast?
No, it actually it made somebody laugh on the
good.
thing, and because I was talking about how New Year's Eve crowds are the worst,
Yes.
and how everybody was just showing up, and there's this expectation, and I said they're there with their regalia and whatever, and the thing was like, fucking what? And I was like, no, it works.
You're like, fanfare.
Yeah.
Still nothing.
Yeah, you know when you're
Drinks?
when they're you know when they're across the table and you use the word and you've got your phone down. And yeah. I was like, no, it works. Yeah.
So those New Year's shows, you're spot on with that, by the way, are I mean,
Very
good
high.
paychecks.
Yeah.
Which is why everybody does
Them. Yep.
But man, I did one real quick famously where I didn't have Tom Segura and Christina Pazitsky were in Seattle, and I was back home, and so I come on the show too. And then the host had his fiance, and I was single, and the owner of the club was like, "Go on at the end, and we're gonna do the countdown." And I was like, "I don't really want to because I got nobody to kiss." And he was like, "Oh, just like do a funny thing with your hand." And I was like, that's probably what I was gonna do, and that's so sad. And I love that you just really aren't even joking about that as a possibility right now, Ruben. And he was like, just kiss your hand or fucking do it like a... And I was like, all right. He's like, just please go up there. You'll be the only comic that's not up there from the show. I was like, fuck, fine. I'm a team player. Get up there. 3. I'm scouting it out, just fucking panic. Like, looking around, everyone in the crowd is a couple. Nobody came to a New Year's show solo. There might have been one guy in the corner who just had his dick out ready to go and was like, 3, 2, look at me, you know. And if we do it together, it's not weird. And so I 3, 2, 1. I even saw there was a couple that saw me that was like motioning over, I think for like a 3-way kiss, and I was just like,
nice.
I'm good, yeah, for sure. And and I was like, I'm good, Mom. Good night, everybody. No, remember those? And so Christina and Tom kiss, the host and his fiance kiss. 3, 2, 1. My brain shut down and my body took over, and I just started going into the robot. Drew, it was the saddest shit. I gotta find the video. 3, 2, 1, and I just in my head was going like, beep, 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 boom. You have nobody. Like, just fucking. And I remember looking down after the kisses, and I was still roboting, and a couple of the couples were like, and I'm just like, and then I started like doing it like just to, and then I started fist pumping, hoping that people would be like, well, there's no way he even has time for companionship. He's got a whole dance that he worked on. Dude, it was real. It was as low as I've been.
Oh my God.
And you're laughing at the comedy part of it, but like truly, I was just like. I was like, I gotta get a girlfriend or just something to,
Man, that is.
maybe borrow that couch my nephew's been dry humping, some sort of connection.
You have to find that footage.
That footage, right?
You
Yeah.
have to find that.
And then
footage.
attach maybe this story to it. Fuck, man. Are we recording? So, all right, Drew. Your favorite word is pejorative.
Yep.
What's your least favorite word?
Oh Jesus. I don't like when, man, my instinct is to always like ask someone else to see like what their like what's the realm of like possibilities for what their answer might be. I guess literally is pretty overused. Any of the slang nowadays is my least favorite word. Anything that people say like, I'm gassed, or that sent me, and stuff like that.
Are you pretty savvy with the jargon?
Yeah, I'm savvy with the jargon. Yeah, but of course I'm savvy with the jargon.
Feel how uncomfortable I was.
We feel like two undercover cops at a very young party.
You savvy with the jargon, kid? So you come around this high school shindig much? She's like, yeah. Are you with someone's dad? No, I just have a deep voice and a cool coat. Are you a coach? I guess you could say to some who look up to me, why are you talking so slow? It's like you're just learning what words are. Hey, fuck you, bitch. You can't say that in 2021.
Bro. Oh, fuck. Oh, dude.
Oh, man. We are just two undercover cops.
To some, I'm a coach. Why are you talking slow? Oh
Shit.
Oh.
Drew, what turns you on? And some people answer sexually, and some people answer like just whatever.
My love language is actually acts of service. So I actually don't like to be I don't like to be touched. Like my fiance's acts of service. Her love language is physical touch. So she likes to be touched often. Yeah. And it's weird because you'd almost like a lot of people think like, oh, it's usually just the guys, and it's like, no, I don't like to be touched. I don't. Whoa. But if you like. If she like sweeps like our apartment or whatever, I come home, I'm just like my love cup is so full, and then I'll just feel like, oh, let me give you a massage, let me whatever, because you know what I mean. So that it's like I don't consider myself to be someone who is like turned on, because I'm just not a very sexually like motivated person.
Gotcha. Then it's just about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Like what they need, what you need.
Yeah,
meeting in the middle.
It's just like it's a teamwork thing. That's
totally.
that's and that's why people say partner and life partner and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
What turns you off?
Man, when that fucking apartment is not swept,
you don't want to see me, dude.
What's the physical touch that's not the? No, I don't know. Man, turn-offs. I think when you just like it's people on planes. That's what it is. It just feels like every person on a plane is just the worst human being. And the karmic. It's like this plane is going down, and not because of me. It's because of everybody else is like, you know what I'm saying? Like if they put all of these awful people in one place, right? Like and God's like, let's just get rid of them all, and we'll sacrifice that guy who was he's done some shows in fucking Oklahoma, it's just it's every person on a plane is just like, it's what, like they all have the same voice, and it's just it can't just be. It's a turn off as a person.
Yes, just enjoy the fact that you're on a seat in the sky.
Yeah,
and you're getting to where you need to go, so you can do something that's.
Yeah, I mean, and you and I travel all the time, so it's just it's just filled with people who they're kind of just like they're figuring it out, and it's everybody else's responsibility.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I'll tell you, what drives me the most crazy about the flying experience is the people who don't. It's like, my fiance busts my balls all the time about. She's like such not a rule breaker. Even if we take our pup with us. And supposed to be under the seat, but if she's like crying a little bit, I'll be like, well, at least she'll stay. I've had a few flight attendants be like, you can keep her in the bag, just hold her. Like I get that, but my friend's still like, she's not supposed to be there. Like you gotta put. Like, we don't want to break the rules. So we work on that. It'll probably be the reason we get divorced. And she, but the people that stand up and are like a row or two behind and quickly dart out in front and like there's a process,
there's a system.
It's row by row.
Sorry
that you chose the window seat because you wanted to sleep on the window. Well, that also, and you're a row back because you wanted you don't want to sit in the exit seat because you buckle under pressure. And when the flight attendant's like, do you think you can help in an emergency? You're like, I don't know if I can help cook a pot pie. So you fucking, you chose a couple rows back. You don't get to then fucking, now you're a hero and you want to fucking.
I will make a point. There is absolutely a system, and if there's anything that gets me in trouble, it's the righteousness of like something. If someone comes ahead, like if I'm in row 2 or row 3, and someone from row 5 is coming ahead or whatever, on the tarmac jet bridge, I will bust my ass to get ahead of them and then like slow down, like what you do in traffic, pretty much.
Love you. I do the same
it's
shit.
just I get wherever their gate is. Like you made like I'm coming in the day before. I have nothing to do. My shows are tomorrow.
But time to cut you off,
my shows are tomorrow. So if we're going to gate D, like fucking okay.
And guess what? You better believe I'm gonna follow you to baggage claim. And I'm going to fake grab your bag. I'm gonna watch you, and I'm gonna slip in and grab your bag just so you can go whoa whoa whoa, and you go, now you know what it feels like. And then
go through security and go.
And then they go, sir, you can't touch his bag, and then you got to actually get pulled away.
And then I'm late to my flight, so I have to cut a bunch of people off. I'm like, oh fuck, no, I'm sorry, it was my flight.
I was trying to prove a point. I'm sorry. I'm not usually like this, but you should have seen this guy on the flight. He was. All right. What is your favorite curse word?
It feels so unoriginal to say fuck, but it's just
No,
it's
it's a good one, man. It's probably the best.
It's really good. I like things that used to be inappropriate to like things that are like where when people used to be like thwarted by a word that at a time that's very old timey, where it's just like, what? Like he's dastardly, and you're like, well, how could you say he was dastard? Like that always makes me laugh so hard.
Or a bummer.
Yeah, or like a rapscallion. What? How is someone like that? You know?
Oh yeah.
They were a scoundrel. Like that's kind of stuff makes me laugh.
What's a
yeah.
rapscallion? Yeah. Go ahead and go.
Well, I'm gonna look up pejorative while I'm here.
Please.
But I think I know what pejorative is.
You know what I used to like, and it's so funny. I thought you were gonna say the words, and this is just tells you like where we grew up, and who raised us, and who our friends were, and who were the older kids in our neighborhood. There was one kid named Knud, K-N-U-D. He lived with his German grandparents. He was in the corner of our neighborhood. Turtle Rock it was called, because the house at the top of the hill had a turtle. At a rock painted like a turtle.
Yeah.
And so the whole neighborhood was deemed Turtle Rock. The people that lived there, by the way, no one ever saw them. It was like they were the Addams family, but they were also like, you know, figments of our imagination. But they had the rock there, and so whatever, Turtle Rock. Knud used to call everyone butt fuckers. That was like his go-to. And I didn't even know, honestly, was young enough just to not even know, you know, I think eventually you put it together, you go, oh, but like, he would say it in a way where I was like, oh, that guy's being like, if somebody would like stole the ball, you know, from a game and like, sorry guys, it's my ball and I want to go in because you guys are being bitches. So I guess there's no more basketball in Turtle Rock. He'd be like, you butt fucker. So I was like, oh, he's being an asshole.
Right.
But butt fucker replaced it.
Yeah.
Come to later find out, oh, there's other ways to take what
to
that
do
is,
that.
to do that.
Yeah. But you also, that's being said at an age where if you get to like fuck anything, it's great.
Yeah. Also, if you get to curse,
who cares?
And you have German grandparents
Yeah.
who are like, finally, I don't do accents, but they're like, you know, they curse more than he did. So you would always be like, where does Knut learn to talk like that? And then you hear his German grandparents be like, Knudeman. They would call him Knudeman. They go, get your fucking ass back in the house, you fucking little butt fucker. And they're like, that probably has something to do with it. And right on cue.
So rapscallion is a rascal, rogue, scamp.
Great.
Scamp is great, by the way. That's a great word.
Scamp sounds like something we would get canceled for saying today.
Yeah. Pejorative. Man, there is a J in there, right? Yeah, there is. Why am I just not spelling? Oh, here it is. Pejorative. Okay, but it is pejorative.
The J is like
P,
right?
silent. Yeah, it's P-E. Okay, so having a disparaging, derogatory, or belittling effect or force. So the pejorative affixing in Prince, like I love when the example is more difficult
the
than the like when
sentence
you're just
has
like,
nothing
okay,
to
can
do.
I look up that sentence? What do you want me to plug that into a dictionary? You fucking asshole.
That's why these spelling bee kids are just like so impressive.
Yeah. Debasing, like irreverent, disparaging.
Okay.
Yeah, pejorative's a great
Cool.
word. I just wish I knew it.
Disparaging.
But,
So like, almost to describe someone's like attitude, like he had a pejorative.
Yeah. It was said with a tone like that. Like I said that there was a connotation to it, so I kind of knew like the sub like.
Because disparaging is like condescending, right?
Right. Like there is like if you're saying
Dismissive,
something,
passive?
if the way you're saying something was meant with the intention of putting someone down, I think that's
You're
like
being pejorative.
Yeah, that's pejorative. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like if you're saying something that would otherwise be innocuous, but you know with the way you're saying it, it probably has a connotation that is a pejorative connotation. Let me see if that J is
That
silent.
rapscallion was being pejorative towards the scamp,
Right.
who turned out to be a butt fucker.
That's really good, dude.
What do I win?
This is why you're the best. And then they've got different pronunciations too. They've got you can stress any part of this word and be correct. Pejorative. You can get pejorative, and then they got the fucking Louisiana pejorative.
Pejorative.
It literally says that Jawr.
I love that.
Next question.
Next question. What sound or noise do you love?
Ooh. Anything relating to my dog. I think any sound she makes. She doesn't bark, but she does like when they exhale when they're excited to see you, like their excitement is like,
oh yeah,
it's so, but it's just like like
yeah,
that from the mouth there.
Yeah.
It's the best. So that's the best sound.
Where does the name Stella come from?
All my family, they have named their dogs after beer or alcohol. So my brother had like Captain for Captain Morgan, and then Brandy, and then there was Jack, there was Bud.
Did anybody just go Bud Light Lime.
No, yeah, Bud Light Lime Seltzer.
Zima, come here.
And then Stella was just, it was.
It's
just,
a great name.
It's a great name. It's a great
Yeah,
dog name. It's
you
so
crushed
common,
it.
but yeah.
Is it?
It's a common one. Bella, Stella, they've got to be some
No,
of
you're
the
the
two.
only
What's your dog's name?
Pickles.
That's great.
Yeah, little Cavapoo. We decided between Pickles, Queef, or Hitler Jr.
Yeah.
And
I would really, and you went with Pickles.
that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna.
Yeah, we went. You went with Pickles. Very funny. That's the. And by the way, at the party, people are no longer assuming we're cops. They're like, that was a pretty cool, normal conversation between a couple of strapping fellas.
A couple of scamps.
Yeah, Pickles is cute. It's also it downplays the severity when, like, she's a gal, so she's she'll try to clean herself or pleasure herself. Either way, she'll do it in public.
Yeah.
And it's just funnier to be like, Pickles, stop eating yourself out in front of our landlord, or keep doing it. The landlord looks like he doesn't have a problem with it. Actually, is enjoying it. All right.
Dude, if you went with Queef and like sometimes how your dog farts, like you say like like Queef just farted,
Queef
it's the funniest thing.
Opportunity missed. Guess what, Drew? We're changing your name. You heard it here on the About Last Night podcast. Pickles, the dog formerly known as Pickles, Queef.
And then we got to get a cat named Fart, and we got to get it to Queef.
By the way, you delivered that with such, dude. That was. You do voiceover for cartoons?
No.
Okay.
Oh wait, I have done some.
Okay, good. Because I totally saw a cartoon centered around a kid who was like some little schemer, some Dennis the Menace scamp of some sort that was like getting into like cul-de-sac hijinks, and definitely that episode was based around him getting a cat. Like his buddy's dad thought it was funny to name the dog. Give me a second to name the dog Queef because he goes, because I think it'll be funny to be like the Queef farted, and then he went home being like, we got to get a cat. His name farting, get the cat the Queef, and that's the whole episode.
This is how your brain works. This is why it's so fun to watch. It's just like
I don't know what
the whole scene. The whole scene. He just wrote the whole episode. We hired a bunch of writers to come
made?
do
Probably
this, and then this guy just wrote the whole thing. There's a character smoking a cigarette at the end. What nice little touch. Why would that?
I know it's a kid show and a dad who had to open.
But that's gonna exist in the description of the episode, where you're just like, that's such a nice touch.
It starts as the dads who are like, it's their house where they're letting their high school kid have a party, and for whatever reason some of the kids ended up upstairs, and the dad was like, I said you can only upstairs is where we live, you get the downstairs. But a few of the kids were cool and they're sitting there and they're like, what are you guys watching? And they're like, Murder, She Wrote. And they're like, what is that? Sit down, you guys want something to drink? Like, yeah, the booze downstairs blows. And then the dad like became like, but then so they were just cool enough. What sound or noise do you hate, Drew?
Hate, like a noise that I hate. I actually don't like when people have their notifications on their phone, but like that's fine. But if you're texting someone and it continues to keep going, like that you're still.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? When like if people are boarding the flight and then you're texting and it's just you haven't turned it off.
Yeah.
You're fully aware that this is a rapport.
Yes.
There's going to be something sent. There's something outgoing and then incoming. Like if it's where the A-B rhythm of your conversation is question and answer, there's obviously going to be a response, and that's more times I have to hear that fucking ping. How could you possibly think that would be okay? I don't care what your age is. There's people who are like my age who are just like young little fucking assholes who like do that as well. So I know that it's not specific to an age group.
Yeah.
But that is annoying to me. Like,
that should be a universal. Yeah. Wherewithal of just
vibrate, silent if you're in a text thing. One text, hey, I'm taking off, love you, and then someone's like, have a great flight. Okay, turn your phone off, whatever. If that's what you need to do for your thing. But if it's just back and forth where that's going off, like I think that is just like no etiquette whatsoever.
I 1,000% agree. That's a big pet peeve of mine. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
There's nothing else that I could do. I can't do this. So I can't even do this. This is me right before. This is my dialogue before every set. I need to do something else, but this is all I.
Oh, that's
I can't do this
so
stuff.
funny.
I have so much. I just have so much respect for athletes, to be honest with you. Like, and fuck, man.
Totally, dude. That's an extra level of discipline. People
crazy.
compare comedy and sports all the time. I think there are a lot of correlations and similarities and whatever, but like. And, you know, the metaphors of, like, you know, put in the reps and do the work and you know, practice for the game day and throw and then throw it all out the window and just, you know, listen and respond, whatever it is. But it's like, hey, man. Like, they're not looking at a fucking, you know, at a burrito at a Holiday Inn in the lobby and being like, all right, how late is it? I think I can get away, you know. That's not even an option for them.
Fuck, dude. The Holiday Inn does burritos now. In my day, my day, it was trail mixer points.
There's nothing sadder than asking if you have enough points with the hotel to get that Chex Mix. How much is that? They're like, this is not Dave & Buster's, man. Just fucking charge it to the room. Oh, I thought I had enough Marriott Bonvoy points to get the
Chex
Kit Kat and the soup.
Yeah, the Chex Mix is $3 or it's 1,400 points. Like, whoa. You're just like,
it's always so lopsided. You're like, how many? I've only been staying with you guys for a year. Yeah, it's gonna be 30 more years than you can afford that granola bar. You fucking piece of shit.
Have you seen the video of the of what it actually takes to hit a baseball like that? Where it was on Facebook.
No.
Where I'll send it to you. But it's where you like what has to happen in order for like the timing that you have to have, like the mechanics, everything. It's like almost like a miracle every time someone is able to hit a baseball.
Even the batting cage I struggle with. Like I'm talking 20-mile-per-hour slow pitch softball lob. There's fucking even the machine just stops halfway through, and like a guy who wasn't there sticks his head out and he goes, "I think you're good, man. You know we got go-karts, right?" What profession other than your own would you not like to do?
Oh man.
I guess also athlete.
Yeah, I mean, I guess athlete, right? It's wild how it seems. It's wild how it's the same for each, but I would not.
Oh wait, the first one was supposed to be. Did I say what would you like to do? No, I said what would you not like to do.
You said other than this, what would I? What would I?
What would you like to do? Oh, that's
right.
what it should have been.
And then I said, oh, okay, cool. And then I said,
you answered not athlete.
Right.
So I guess the question should have been, if you weren't doing stand up, what would you do?
Well, no, I think I said athlete but I couldn't do it.
Oh, but that's
I
what
have
you would
respect.
want to do.
I do have respect for what they do,
gotcha.
but just like playing sports, like that's so much
what would you
fun.
not like to do? What job, I guess, are you just like, fuck that?
Man, dude. I think about like thankless jobs like all the time. I think about like, you know, it's someone's job to like organize the fish in the market, like in a way that has to have a aesthetic. You can't just put a fish on ice. It's gotta face the same direction, so it looks like they're dead, but they're still in their school where they're like staggered and flanked, and the shrimp has to be like this, and that's some guy's job. It's like, Tony, look how Jeremy does it. Do you see how he does?
Dead fish look, man.
Yeah.
Like, like, what do you? Yeah.
So like it really just falls under any other normal, like, I don't want to say normal job, but job that like requires like actual like skills, or people like sell like insurance and do that, like shit that I couldn't do, but would honestly like drain the life out of me if I had to, because first of all, I feel like I'm very introverted. I love how singular stand-up is. It completely relies on me. So no one is telling me what to do. Yeah. So, almost anything else, I guess.
Once you get used to that lifestyle, it's tough to like want to gravitate toward anything else. All right, last question.
Yeah.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Ooh. He's like, I caught you at the Ontario Improv. No, I just want one, like, dude, you remember that set? And I was like, I know exactly which one
I
you're
saw you
talking
on
about.
Refried Mondays at the Improv, man. You were the one white guy in an all-Latino show,
Yeah.
and you brought it. You brought it, and people.
I just want the recognition because I've never gotten off stage and been like, I crushed or I did well. It's not in my vernacular. I just can't say that. But to hear God be like that one show, and I was like, right? Like I wanted to say it that time, but if he was like, dude, that one show, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't know if I felt it, but like it's good to hear you say it. It's nice.
Yeah, you know, because you've seen all the shows.
Yeah. But like that one, you were like, hang on, there's a lot of other God shit I should be doing, but fucking that.
What did he miss out on completing by watching your Ontario improv set?
I don't know. I said Ontario.
No, dude. It's a great location. Their mall is exquisite. There's, I think, 2 different BJ restaurants there in the same block. Drew Lynch, you're amazing. This was so fun.
So fun, man. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks for doing it. Zoa. Thanks, Rock. Guys, Adam Ray here for the About Last Night podcast. Hope you enjoyed that episode. It was a good one. A lot of laughs, a lot of tears, a lot of stuff to think about and chew on, huh? Because that's what life's all about, chewing on the good stuff. Nobody said that. Maybe Denzel did. Maybe Tom Hanks did. Maybe they said it together in Philadelphia. The point is, click subscribe right here on the ALN logo so you can get more episodes and stay up to date when new content drops, highlights, animations, clips. It's all here for you, baby. I'll see you next time. Whoop, I don't know how to blink.